The Republican Party has shaped American society for over 150 years. Many of the United States' greatest presidents were Republican: Lincoln, Grant, Theodore Roosevelt, and Eisenhower, to name a few. When racism brought our country to civil war, it was Republicans who showed us the moral fiber of our nation and challenged all precepts of racism. When corruption was overwhelming the functions of government, Republicans worked to provide a professional civil service. When robber barons impoverished all Americans, Republicans created antitrust laws and brought down the robber barons. The legacy of the Republican Party is grand and deserves to be remembered. Many of the people today are Republicans because of this legacy. But does the current Republican Party live up to its legacy? Let's take a look at the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, who was known for his honesty. In 1858, Lincoln's rival for the Senate, Stephen Douglas, stated about Lincoln, "He is a strong man of his party, full of wit, fact, and dates, and the best stump speaker with his drawl ways and dry jokes in the West. He is honest as a shrewd, and if I beat him, the victory will be hardly won." It is noteworthy that Lincoln's opponents considered him honest. A party that started on the basis of honesty has a great start. But that generation has passed. Does that quality still exist in the Republican Party today with people like George Santos in it? In the 1920s, new technology for mass communication becoming widely available. The radio. The radio had the ability to spread massive amounts of propaganda or some amount of fact. To prevent the spread of propaganda, the federal government passed the Fairness Doctrine. In order to get a public airwave licenses, radio stations had to agree to present information honestly and fairly and to balance different points of view. President Reagan ended the Fairness Doctrine in 1987. Almost overnight, talk radio and shock jocks took over the AM radio bands. Over the next few decades, without the guide rails of the Fairness Doctrine, propaganda took over political media, primarily in support of the Republican Party. Now stay with me to the end. I will show you a video that is so outrageous, so over the top of a lie, you wouldn't have to Google it. And it was widely spread by conservatives and by Republican politicians themselves. PolitiFact.com tracks lies in media. As of January 2020, Fox News has a 10% true rate, 11% mostly true rate, 19% half true rate, 21% mostly false rate, 28% false rate, and 10% pants on fire, meaning completely made up stories. A Fox News viewer has a higher chance of hearing a false story than a true story. Fox has double the lie rate of the next highest lying network. This does not include fringe media like Newsmax. However, the lies on Fox are not from incompetence, but rather from the promotion of the Republican platform in a form the viewers can accept. Now, I'm going to start off with a quick little clip that's complete nonsense, a complete lie, and you'll even believe it's a lie when you see it, but yet Republicans try to tell it to you, and I'll start this off.
This morning, a new warning about the dangers of misinformation spreading online and making its way into political races. And this latest claim that some school districts are providing cat litter boxes for students who identify as cats.
The first sign of the rumor in the U.S. appears to have been at this Michigan school board meeting last December, where it was discussed by a parent without proof, then shared on Facebook by a chairwoman of the Michigan Republican Party, referring to furries, the false story sneaking its way across the country, and now into Republican stump speeches.
Have you heard about the litter boxes stuff?
Yeah.
If we don't push back on the craziness, it's not going to end.
A cat. They put tails on and they demand that they have a litter box in the school.
Not because there's actual cats in the room, but because there's kids going around licking themselves as though they're cats.
We've literally got kids who think they're cats and dogs using litter boxes in classrooms.
No, you don't. Now let's hear another lie that's just as made up, but a hair more believable. Now this lie is a big whopper. The lies on the Mueller report. The Republican Party made a concerted effort to mislead its constituents. Republicans claim the Mueller report concluded no one in the president's campaign colluded, collaborated, or conspired with Russians. This is incorrect. The Mueller report is very clear that the investigation did not establish the Trump campaign criminally conspired on illegal Russian interference or that they coordinated with Russia on a tacit agreement, mostly due to uncooperative behavior and lying by the Trump campaign officials. However, the Republican Senate Intelligence Committee in 2020, after extensive investigation, did find the campaign conspired with Russians. Indeed, the Mueller report lists extensive collusion and contact between the Trump campaign and Russia. Paul Manafort, Rick Gates regularly provided polling information to a Russian national. Manafort had meetings with Konstantin Kilimnik, the Russian political consultant with a history of connections to the GRU. Please forgive me if I got that name wrong. At the same time, the Trump campaign was providing polling data to Russians. Russia was buying targeted ads on Facebook with grossly misleading information. Trump publicly called on Russia to find Hillary Clinton's emails and then privately ordered future National Security Advisor Michael Flynn to find the emails. Flynn reached out to a person who he thought was a Russian agent. Mueller report concluded on Volume 1, laying out over 200 pages worth of collusion. Russia repeatedly reached out to the Trump campaign to establish a connection to the Kremlin. Mueller wrote the Russian contacts consisted of business connections, offers of assistance to the campaign, invitations for Trump and Putin to meet in person, invitation for the campaign officials and representatives of the Russian government to meet, policy positions seeking improved U.S.-Russian relations, which Trump attempted to put into the Republican platform, and did. The Mueller report was damning towards Russia in Volume 1, dealing with collusion. Volume 2 was even worse and found at least 10 instances of obstruction of justice that would have been criminally prosecuted if Trump was not the president. It should be noted that Mueller did state Trump could be prosecuted after he leaves office. During the investigation, Mueller did charge 34 people and 3 companies, including top advisors of the Trump administration, Russian spies, and hackers, all backed by Russia. Fox News repeatedly stated that Trump did nothing wrong, and the Mueller report exonerated Trump. The truth is the opposite. The consequences of this lie is the Republican Party's endorsed and accepted criminal behavior by the Trump administration. In 2020, Republicans spent over $1 billion on false information because it works to lie to Republicans. During the Trump impeachment trial, Republicans created a multi-million-dollar blitz aimed at misleading the public regarding the impeachment trial. Thousands of micro-targeted ads flooded the internet, portraying Trump as a reformer cracking down on foreign corruption, while Democrats were complacent. The ads were repeated and amplified in right-wing media. Pro-Trump forums created and spread conspiracy theories. The media blitz parsed out-of-context clips from impeachment trial to recast damning testimony as exonerating. Kurt Bardella, a former spokesperson and senior advisor to the House Oversight Committee, stated the reason for the lie blitz. The more the facts come out, the more desperate they get. They know in a debate centered on facts, truth, and reality, they lose. The only mechanism to survive is to muddy the waters, distort, distract, and hope if the lies are repeated enough, they will become real. The misinformation blitz worked. Only about 9% of Republicans shifted their beliefs from Trump. Only 9% believe he should have been removed from office from obvious corruption that he did in Ukraine. Today's Republican Party depends on voters being fooled. It depends on voters being lied to. And the Republican Party today doesn't resemble anything that Lincoln was. There's no honesty in it. It's just based on lies.